close your eyes and imagine it's 1958. The space race has begun. NASA is being born. Families are sitting around their new color television. This was the peak modern civilization. But if you walked just a few miles from the headquarters of European Union in Brussels, you would find something that defies humanity, a fence. And behind that fence were people, not criminals, not prisoners, but families, kidnapped and displayed like animals. This is the story of human zoo in history, a story the world tried to erase. To understand this harder, we have to look at the World Expo 58. It was the biggest event on Earth. 41 million people came to see future. The centerpiece was the atomium, a giant silver structure symbolizing peace and science. But in its shadow, the Belgian government had a darker plan. They wanted to show off their property, the Congo. They didn't bring back gold or rubber this time. They brought 273 human beings. They were not told they were going to a zoo. They were told they were cultural ambassadors. Among them was a boy we'll call Henry. Henry was only 8. He was told he was going on a grand adventure to a magical land of light and technology. His parents were promised wealth. They boarded the ship with smiles, waving goodbye to their village, not knowing they were sailing into a nightmare. The moment Henry arrived in Brussels, adventure ended. He was stripped of his clothes and given traditional tribal wear. Even though it was freezing cold, he was placed in an 8-acre enclosure called the Congolese village. Imagine being Henry. You are 8 years old. You are hungry. You are cold. You are terrified. But every time you look up, there are thousands of wild faces staring at you. They are not looking with pity. They are pointing. They are laughing. The visitors were not just watching, they were interacting. They would lean over the bamboo fence and throw scraps of food, bananas, bread, half-eaten sandwiches. They wanted to see if the savage would fight for food. Henry's father had to stand tall, pretend to be a primitive warrior for 10 hours a day, while his mother tried to shield Henry from the coins being pelted at them like stones. This wasn't education, it was a circus where animals were human. These families were from the tropical heat of Congo. They had no immunity to European diseases and no protection from biting cold. The Belgian authorities refused to give them proper housing. It would ruin the authenticity of exhibit, they said. One by one, the people behind the fence started to cough. Then they started to fall. Pneumonia swept through the village. Their body was taken away in the night and buried in an unmarked grave. No funeral, no name, just a number removed from the display. But Henry's people were not silent victims. By the summer, the atmosphere changed. The Congolese men and women began to realize they were being mocked. They stopped performing. They started to stare back at the crowd with eyes full of rage. Tensions boiled over. Fights broke out. The Congolese cadets demanded to be sent home. They realized that the civilized Europeans were the ones acting like savages. Under pressure from journalists, the Belgian government quietly shut down the zoo. before the expo ended. They did not apologize. They did not offer compensation. They just burned the huts, sent the survivors back on ship, and spent the next 60 years pretending it never happened. Today, the site of 1958 Human Zoo is a public park where children play. The Atomium still stands, a symbol of progress, but the ghost of Henry remains. We look at 1958 and think, how could this so be cruel? But history has a haunting way of repeating itself. We still put people in boxes. We still judge the others. We still scroll through our screens, consuming the misery of others for entertainment. The fences didn't disappear. They just became invisible. If you don't remember Henry, we are doomed to build his cage again. Because the most dangerous thing in the world isn't a monster. It's an ordinary person who chooses to look away. This story was buried for decades. Thank you for helping me bring it back to life. If you believe these stories need to be told, hit the subscribe button and share this video. Let's make sure history is never silenced again. What story should uncover next? Let me know in the comments. I'm Ahmed, and remember, be aware, be Ahmed.